Okay, so to do the brakes, you need to take off the little cover that comes off right here. There's a little bolt on there they have to take off. It's 8 mil. Go use a little wrench. You need your bleed kit. For Shimano, you can use this thing, and then also this. It's a little syringe that you can use. And then you also need this little thing here. It's a little, this is called the olive, and this is like the little skewer that goes into the hose, and that's what you need. You also need a little thing to clamp the hose together. That comes with new brakes, or when you buy bleed kits, it comes with it. So then I'll show you how to use those. Okay, so what you want to do is take the little things, take everything off of this, take them out of that. So then you put the little cap here, you put that on here first because you want that on the top. Then you put this bolt that was screwed into this here, take that, put that on next. Then you take the little olive here, put that on. And then this little thing here, you can see that. You put that on. You just push it in a little bit. I've already started, but if you put it in a little bit, then you take the plastic pieces here, like this and like this. They hold it nice and tight, and then you just clamp it together, like so. And then you take a hammer, like this, you just hammer it together. And then you'll hear it like get a little bit of a deeper noise to it, and that's how you know that you have it, put it on all the way. And you can also just look at it and see that there's no space in between the metal part there and the hose. If you can see that. There you go, like that. There's no space in between there. Then what you do is you just put it in there with this, like that, and you just screw it on. And then take your 8 mil wrench and you just screw it on until it feels tight enough. There's no torque to this. It's just you go till you feel that it's tight enough. I don't know. There's no perfect thing. You just don't make it too tight because then it messes it up, but don't make it too loose, and then it won't work correctly. Because you want this black metal piece here that screws in. It pushes the olive together and squishes it and expands it a little bit. So then once you have that nice and tight, well, not nice and tight, you want it tight enough. My dad always says tight enough is what you want. And take this here, put it on there, like so. Then all you have to do is bleed the brake, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. Next, you want to bleed your brakes, and for that, you need to take off the little cap over here. If you can see this, it's a little thing right there that you just want to take off. You want to make sure that this is nice and flat with, like, you just want to make it nice and horizontal like that. And then you want to have all your hoses like going up from the back up towards here, so that all the air bubbles that are in there, or if there's any, they go up to here so that everything comes out. So to take this off, you need a 2.5 millimeter Allen key. You just unscrew it off, and there's a little rubber cap in there that you want to make sure you don't lose, because you need that. Keep that somewhere safe. Then you want to take your cup here with the little plunger, put in so that none of the oil goes out. you want to fill that up with fluid. Then put it on here. There's a little rubber cap on here, little rubber thing. Put that on here, screw it on, and then you just want to press your brakes, and then, yeah, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so once you put the fluid inside here, it's like this pinkish stuff. Then you just screw it on there, you take the little plunger, you take that off, because you don't want that to be stopping any of the fluid going in. Then you just cycle through your brakes, getting all the air bubbles out, and you can like flick it like this, or what you can do is go through the whole hose and just flick the hose, and then all the air bubbles will come to the top here. But then you just want to keep doing that until the brakes feel nice and good for you, how you want them. They should feel nice and tight. Like when you press the brakes, they like stops right there, and then you know you're good. But before you even start doing all the bleeding stuff, what you should do is make sure you have the right. You make sure that your brake pads are good, and if they're not, take them out. And if you have your wheel off already, then what you should do is then put a little shim inside here that I have, and I'll show you what that looks like. But to take your brake pads off, there's a little pin on the side. Pull that off. You don't. Sometimes you need some pliers to pull it off. Either way works. Get a 3mm Allen key. Unscrew the little screw on the side. Might click like that. That's just it. You knowing that it's tight. Then you can just pull it out straight up like this. Then what you want to look for is in here. There's like no nothing there. Literally no pad left. And like you can see a little hole, like little metal dots in there. That means that you're done. Like these are not usable anymore. So then you need to get some new brake pads, which you can get a bunch of different types. You can get ones that do look like this, and then you can get different types like resin or metal. And then you can get with Shimano, they have thin ones that just cool down a lot faster. That's about it. But then, yeah, I'll get the little shim that goes in here, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, so depending on what brake you have, depends on which shim you want to use. So for these Shimano ones, when you get them, you get this shim. But then, because these are the single piston or double piston, you call them a single piston, one on each side. But then you can get the dual piston, quad piston, which are a little bigger. So then you have to get a little bit of a longer one. You can see it's a little bit bigger, not too much bigger, but it is a little bit bigger. So just keep that in mind when you're using one of these. Make sure that you're using the correct size, making sure you do the right one. Then what you do, you just put it in, and you want to make sure that the little pistons inside there are spread out all the way so that this thing fits in there. What I like to use is I like to grab a flathead screwdriver, put it in, and then I just like to move it around a little bit and push the things out until I have enough space to put this in. Then, yeah, I'll show you what to do once you get that all the way in there. Okay, so once you put your shim in, you put it in like you would your brake pads. Just don't put your wheel back on. But you just like take the little screw, put it in, and you're good. Then you just bleed your brakes like normal. You just keep hitting the lever until it's nice and tough, and there's no more bubbles coming into here, and then you're good. Once you finish that and your brakes feel nice and good, what you do is you put the plunger, put it back into the hole so it's nice and tight. Then what you want to do is you unscrew it off of here, making sure you keep the little rubber thing there. Then you, like with the bleed kit, you get this little thing, put that in there just to hold it so that nothing touches the ground. Then take your little screw here, this one, And there's a little bit of oil that's like pooled on top there, and you just want to push this right into it, so that once you screw it in, it makes a super duper tight, a really tight, like a nice seal with it, and there's no air in there because it's only oil. So then you tighten that up, take a little rag, wipe it off, make sure there's no leftover oil on there, because that's not good. Then move to the back, and I'll show you what to do with your brakes and stuff like that, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so once you did your brakes, and then what you need to do, you need to take off the little yellow bit in here, the little thing, take that off, unscrew the little, you have to unscrew the screw, that'll fall out. Then you take this little piece here that your brakes pads go on. With these brake pads here, these ones are nice, they've got a lot of good on them, a lot of meat. So with these brake pads, they don't have a left or right, but this little thing on here does. So you just want to make sure that the left is on the left side of the bike and the right is on the right side. But the pads for these ones don't have a left and right, but depending on which brand you use and then which model brake pads you use, that will change if you have a left or right. So make sure it's left or right, put it in. Then you want to take your screw and the little pin that goes on the end of it, put it through there, screw it on, put the little pin on, take your Allen key, put it on there nice and tight. Then you're good. All you need to do is put your wheel back on. Then I'll show you how to mess with the wheel, with like how this is, like how it works on the rotor and stuff. The next, what you want to do is you want to put because you have your brake pads in, you have your wheel back on. What you want to do is you want to make sure the caliper is nice and straight with the thing here. So then what you can do is just hold down your brake, and it'll keep it in a nice spot, and then you just tighten it up, and then you're good. Okay, once you do your brakes and you bleed them correctly and you've done everything, you've aligned them correct, because sometimes if you hold the brake and you put it on, it doesn't always work because your rotor's a little bit off. So what you can do is just tap it with a little, like the end of your Allen key, or like a little, with your hand, just tap it a little bit and move it around, make it so there's no noise, so no scraping. Then once you did that, you're done. Unless you have to like put your cables on your bike or something like that, then you can do that. You just use some zip ties and you're fine, and then you're good. Just make sure that you have the brake at the correct angle that you like it at. Make sure you have your seat at the right angle and the right height that you want, and then you can go ride. You can have fun. See you in the next one.